eh? Ooh, cheers. It's Wednesday today, so I might as well be my homebrew Wednesday video. Just pour myself a beer. Homebrew. Made from a real ale extract can, but I hopped it up. And it's quite nice. Extra malt, all that sort of stuff. Ask me if you want the recipe. But it's good, it's nice and hoppy. What I thought I'd do this video about is me. If you watch my JTV channel, Gash Slugg is what they call me. You'll know about me, but if you just watch my YouTube videos, you probably don't know who I am. So I thought I'd tell you a little bit about myself. My first brew was 88 or 89. I'm not exactly sure. I didn't take notes back then. I know it was in the backyard of my old man's house, my father's house. That's about all I remember of it. I remember the beer wasn't very good. Back in those days, it was just the extract can and a kilo of sugar. If you're a beginner brewer like me, there was no home brew shops in the area where I grew up, which is with the central coast of New South Wales, Australia. So you just found what you sort of did in the supermarkets, and you followed the instructions. It didn't make very nice beer. I made a lot of mistakes for a year or so. I just didn't know. There was no internet to jump on to check things, and even book-wise, I was only young. I didn't have the money to go and buy books. So I used to put heaters on the fermenters. Like where we lived was probably average 20 degrees Celsius, which would have been fine for brewing beers. But I used to follow the instructions, and you used to say 24 degrees to 26 degrees. I'd have heaters on them to try and heat them up, which was just silly, I know now. But I did back then. Sometimes they'd never carbonate properly. I remember one time putting a beer that was, I'd put sugar in it, but for some reason it didn't carbonate, and we stuck it in a soda stream, one of those carbonating. You can carbonate, cordial and make it into fizzy drink or soda. And of course, as soon as we carbonated in the soda stream, the beer ended up all over the roof. But anyway, in about 94, I kept doing that for a few years. In about 94, I got asked to move to Melbourne, Australia, in Victoria, to join a band called XXX, by the way. I'll throw some footage on. But just about a month or so, I moved in with the rest of the blokes in the band, and after about a month, we got booted out of the house we were in. They hadn't kept up with the rent. Typical musicians. So it probably lasted for over a year. I was squatting sometimes in squats, or sleeping on people's lounges, on their floors. Stuff like that. I was still brewing though. I'd just go and get I used to do it in plastic rubbish bins, trash bins. Give them a good clean, sterilise them and brew in it. It still was tasting pretty bad. Around mid-95, I finally got settled. I met my girlfriend, or now wife, on tour with the band, and she came back to Melbourne. And we got settled in a place. We finally got a place. Then I ended up buying another Cooper's kit and fermenter and stuff, and started fermenting again. Still back then, there wasn't that much knowledge around. The net was still young. The local brew shops still didn't have that much stuff. to make a good beer. I remember brewing vodka and orange. You could buy vodka and orange kits, and the same thing. You just add a kilo, bourbon and Coke, and they were pretty disgusting. My mates liked it at the time. We were young and would drink anything, but I still wasn't satisfied. So I kept searching and searching, and they were slowly getting better. I was finding brewing sugars rather than just table sugar and stuff like that. And I started dabbling in all grain at home, all sorts of methods, mostly just in an esky. And my beers were getting better and better all the time. My extract brews were brilliant. The all grains were getting there too. In about 2010, the wife thought it'd be a great idea. I had troubles with the work I was in, and I was sick and tired of it. It'd have a great idea of starting our own brewing shop, because the brewing supplies are very expensive, or even starting our own brewery bar type thing, like most home brewers' dreams are, And I thought, great. The wife suggested it for a change, and so anyway, she sent me off to hone my skills at a advanced brewing course. It was run by a bloke called Vince Constanzo. I hope I got your name right, Vince. And I think that ran from about 9 weeks. It was one day or one afternoon a week, and a couple of weekends where we went on brewery excursions, and we did the all grain brewing, practice the techniques we learned. And then another weekend for bottling and tasting, something like that anyway. And it was very good. Yeah, I learned a lot. I'll leave a link down there for Vince. I think he's still doing the courses. I'm pretty sure he is. He does them around Australia. I think he started in '86 brewing. He's been brewing for over 30 years, but he started in '86 at Carlton United Breweries, and he spent a lot of time there, and then he's moved on as a consultant to a lot of the other small breweries around the place. And I can highly recommend his courses. It costs a bit of money, but you'll learn a lot out of him if you're willing to ask questions. He's a very, very nice bloke, and he can teach you a lot of stuff. So anyway, after that, I was all prepped and ready to go, and luckily, my wife fell pregnant, and we ended up having a baby girl, Jenna. That was a couple of months after I'd done the brewing course, so everything sort of went, come to a stop. There was we weren't going to try and open a business or something with a tiny baby girl around. So now at the moment, I'm a stay-at-home dad. Jenna's asleep now. I shouldn't be yelling. And I'm still brewing, but the bigger plans have been put on hold for a while. And because of that, I've gone back to extract nearly all the time. I'll do mini meshes and that, but all my brews I like to get done while the daughter's napping, and that can be anywhere from 40 minutes to 2 hours these days. So, and you can brew great beers with extract. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't. I've tasted a lot of all grains that aren't near as good as some of the extract brews I brew. It all comes down to technique, ingredients, and skills, some of which I try to teach people or show people how I do it the cheap and easy way and quick way, just in my kitchen. In early 2012, I started casting on JTV. It was only a month or so later that I ran into all the Brew casters on there and the 17 Brew crew. I was asked to join the 17 Brew crew, which I did. And I originally started with my real name. Gavin is my real name, if anyone wants to know. But there was already one of the guys that was trying to run the Brew crew named Gavin, and it made it very confusing in chats and stuff. So I grabbed my old nickname, which I've had since I was 18, which was Gash. And that's the way it's sort of stuck through all the brewing stuff now. And everyone knows me as Gash. Everyone in Victoria down here, where I've lived since 1994, knows me as Gash anyway through all the band work I used to do. The Brew Crew started as a great idea. They had their website and a forum, and there was just some troubles with the running of it, and they ended up, it kept getting threatened of being shut. The forum address kept moving, and it was just a bit disappointing after, you'd spend hours helping people and putting recipes on that, you never knew if it was going to be still there next week. So me and a couple of friends decided we'd start a forum that wasn't going to go anywhere. That was just going to be there all the time. That unless there's a sun flare that blanks all the computers, it'll be there. And that was where Cellar Dwellers come along. A friend of mine, Pebbles, which people from JTV well will know, from JTV fame, she gave me a hand with the website. Mad Aussie Drop Bear Roo helped us out for a while. And so anyway, on the 9th of September we started the Cellar Dwellers website. We're also looking for a place to put a timetable for all the brewcasters in one spot, so people could have a good idea when they were going to cast, and if they wanted to ask any beer questions or brewing questions, they can get on and we'll try and answer them for you. And with Cellar Dwellers, we also wanted a place that people could have a blog, or just about anything they really want. If you want to join and you find something lacking in the website, or you want to change something, suggest it. We're open, very open to suggestions. It's only new still, in its infancy. We're just getting off our feet. It's going to be good though. Just recently we've hooked up with Tiny from Off Tap Brewing and the Bubbles and Chalk gang, crew, whatever you want to call them. I'm not sure what's going to happen there. We're just working on that, but hopefully they're starting to use our forum. So that's about it. That's me. So I've been brewing for nearly 25 years, all on the cheap usually. I have used the flash equipment, but I don't need it at home. I haven't got several thousands of dollars to spend on equipment to brew beer, and you don't need it. I mean, yeah, one day if I win the lotto, I might get it, but at the moment, I don't need it. I still enjoy it every day. I'm always learning something. I don't know everything. I learn something new every day. I read books. I've got dozens of brewery books. I'm always on the web. Last year I brewed 598 litres, I think it was. Some people brew a lot more than that, but I don't. I'm in a new area and don't really know anyone, so most of that gets drunk by me. So that's a fair amount of beer. It's close to 160 gallons, for those that don't know what litres is. And anyway, that's about me. Cheers. Why don't you do us a vid and tell us about you? I'll talk to you later. Join the Cellar Dweller site. I'll leave links down there. I'll leave links to Off Tap Brewing, Bubbles and Chalk. I'll leave links to Vince Constanzo, so he's going to all come and have a look, and let's meet. Cheers.